Alright, magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Lord De Vera. Get your news here fast and right. Welcome to Afternoon Delight. Ngayon po mga kapatid, Lunes, Abril 28, 2025, off muna ang partner kong si Tita Denise Tan. Kaya sasamahan tayo ngayon ng isa rin nating tita at thank you sa kanyang pagsalo sa atin nung tayo po'y wala. Mula po sa The Big Story, co-anchor Pauline Versosa.
Yes, good afternoon, Tito Lord. Happy Monday.
Blooming na blooming ka lagi.
Talaga ba? Wait, tayo, matching tayo. Maganda yung brown, Great minds think alike. Pero bago
yan ba yung earth tones na tinatawag na?
Yes, earth tones, tama ka dyan.
Sa Tagalog, kulay lupa.
Congratulations, Tito Lord, sa inyong award.
Thank you po.
Ganun lang? Wala nang...
Tago natin tong malamig na inumin na ito.
Okay lang yan.
Maraming salamat po pala sa UP Los Baños Broadcom SOC sa Gawad Gandingan po. At pangalawa na po natin na ito. Talagang gaganahan ka talagang magtrabaho pag nakakuha ka ng mga ganyan. Thank you po sa inyo.
Sana yung afternoon delight din, no? Next time.
Sinasubmit yata yan pagkakaalam ko.
So, submit natin to. Why not?
Itong episode na ito. Yan.
Okay.
Natin.
So, for our delight of the day this Monday, it's none other than menudo and pandesal. Bakit nga ba, Tito Lord?
Hindi ko alam, pero mukhang ito ay ito'y sabwatan ng ating executive producer na si Jan Acosta. Ikaw ba'y mahilig sa menudo, Tita?
Yes, mahilig ako sa menudo. Although never ko pa siyang na-pair with pandesal.
Oo nga eh.
So,
alam mo sino gumagawa ng mga ganyan? Old Spanish tradition yung ganyan, no? Yung mga kaldereta. Ano yan?
Pinapalaman talaga sa...
Imbis sa rice ay bread talaga yung gilid. I don't think pinapalaman.
Okay,
yung
so
parang,
you eat the dish with bread?
Yes, parang yun yung starch mo.
Okay.
Pauso kaya natin, dinuguan tsaka, hindi puto. Dinuguan tsaka skyflakes, mga ganyan.
Kaso ang hirap tanggalin kasi nung kanin sa mga Pilipino. So, hindi ko alam kung masasubstitute ba ang kanin ng pandesal.
Ang menudo ba nilalagay ng hotdog? Oo, no?
Mga Pinoy.
Hotdog tsaka liver, I think.
Yes, oo. Ito ba may hotdog at liver?
Tingnan ko nga.
Parang walang hotdog.
May mga piece siya, of course. Alam mo ba nung araw, kapanahunan ko, pag sinabi mong menudo, ang pinaka kinababaliwan na boy band, Orig boy band from Puerto Rico, na sumikat sa Pilipinas before there was BTS, before there was, sino pa ba yung mga sikat ngayon?
Okay,
grabe. Before there was One Direction. Talagang doon kami nakakita first time ng mga babaeng parang nasisiraan na talaga ng bait.
Talaga ba?
Kapag pinapanood nila yung mga menudo, this boy group na mga mestizos from Puerto Rico.
So umabot yung nila dito sa Pilipinas?
Yes. At doon galing si Ricky Martin.
Menudo.
Batang-bata pa si Ricky Martin noon. At ang galing-galing sumayaw ni Ricky Martin. May dahilan pala kung bakit siya magaling sumayaw.
Okay.
At nag-guest sila noon sa mga noontime shows. Makikita mo pag pinapalan yung camera, parang iniiwan na ng katinuan talaga yung mga kababaihan.
Oh, talaga ba? Akala ko part ka rin ng menudo.
Hindi, ako sa adobo.
May ganun ba?
Nalilito ka ba sa kaldereta, menudo,
afritada?
Afritada.
Afritada ba? Ako, minsan nalilito, pero ang pinaka-favorite ko dun sa tatlo is caldereta. I'm not really sure why. Kasi kung paano siya iba dun sa menudo. Ano nga ang caldereta? Pareho na naman siyang tomato-based.
Parehong tomato-based. Actually, hindi totoo na may maraming tomato siya dapat. I think hint lang siya dapat eh. Reduction talaga siya. At normally nilalagyan siya ng keso.
Ang caldereta.
Yes.
Oo, tama. So creamy siya.
At may mga kaldereta pa ako natitikman na, alam mo yung nagsisettle down yung oil na rin sa taas. Tapos yung konting pula, nagsettle down sa baba. So doon mo makikita, hindi siya talaga tomato sauce based. Dapat. Pero hello sa kaibigan ko si R.A. Rivera na ang galing-galing gumawa ng kaldereta talaga, my God.
Uy, baka naman. Matikman ko yung masarap na kaldereta na yan.
At isang kaibigan ko naman, chef yung asawa niya. Tuwing nagbe-birthday ako, nagre-regala ng isang banyera ng kaldereta.
Wow!
At mula noon, hindi ako kumakain ng ibang kaldereta.
Masarap ang kaldereta
Kaso
kasi
naghiwalay
yung beef.
silang mag-asawa eh.
Ganun ba? Paano na yun? Ang hirap naman.
Oo nga eh. Tol, kamusta? Hindi naman kami close in particular nung lalaki. No? Mas kaibigan ko yung babae, pero di ba ang weird pag kinontak ka siya from...
Yeah.
Oo. Tol, kamusta?
Kaldereta na pala yung
Yara
habol
ka,
mo,
tagawa mo ang kaldereta. Kasi mabagal na pagkakulo. Yung bagal na kulo niya, doon talaga nako-concentrate yung lasa talaga ng beef.
Yes, I agree. Ang afritada naman, I think pwede kasi rin siyang chicken di ba?
Chicken nga alam ko afritada.
Oo. And then ang menudo is pwedeng pork. Pork? May beef menudo ba?
Bihira yata. Mas pork.
So,
menudo rin yung, kung di yung nagkakamali comment nga din yun, yung menudo ba yung nilalagyan ng pasas?
Pasas?
Yung raisins.
Oo.
Yung tatlong selection na yun, kaldereta, menudo, afritada, okay ako dyan basta walang raisins. Diba?
Ayan. Sino nga ba kasi naglalagay ng pasas?
Oo nga.
Sa...
Sino nagpauso ng pasas?
Raisins, no? Pati hotdog.
Ayaw mga hotdog.
Ayoko ng hotdog sa Sa spaghetti pwede pa.
Tama.
Pero pag ganyang ulam na bakit mo yung nahalong hotdog? Pwede naman siyang enjoyin as is, di ba?
Paano kung masarap yung hotdog?
Parang iba pa rin eh. Well, I guess hotdog is hotdog.
Alam ko na yung dahilan dyan. Alam ko na yung explanation. Nung araw kasi may mga dish, like yun, they call for sausage as an ingredient. So,
right. Hinahalo.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. Imukha namang shapes like naman, di ba? So, baka ganun.
Pamparami
At sa ganyan, nagkakaroon ng variations talaga. Ang cuisines, dyan nagkakaroon ng tatak.
Oo.
Kasi yung mga hindi available, gagawa nila ng paraan. Like, example dyan, yung Macanese or cooking sa Macau. Para sa akin, Macanese cuisine is one of the best in the world kasi fusion siya ng Chinese plus yung South American, Brazilian, yung dumadaan sa Africa, dumadaan sa South American continent din. At nung na-station yung mga sundalong Portuguese sa Macau, kailangan nilang gumawa ng paraan. So mga wala. So gumamit silang Chinese ingredients at original fusion cooking na tinatawag. Sarap-sarap.
Meron ba niyan dito sa Manila?
Kung kayo'y nagpunta ng Hong Kong, wala pang 1 oras ang ferry at balita ko may tulay na raw ngayon. My God, alam mo.
Pwede ka na mag-bus,
Yung pagkain ng Macau, hindi ka na uwi. Promise.
Pwede ka ba?
Sarap.
Kung sayang, hindi kami nakapunta ng Macau. I know it's just a day trip from Hong Kong, no? Maraming Pilipino din na mahilig pumasyal sa Macau kasi nga sobrang lapit.
Pero iba yata, nagsusugal lang. Wag ganun.
Well, magaganda yung mga kasi doon, yung mga casino.
Yes.
Pero, hindi kasi tama ba? Parang iba rin yung currency doon sa Macau, pati yung signal ng cellphone. So you have to prepare in advance rin kung pupunta ka doon.
Oo, yung RMB o Yanmimbi, tawag nila.
Siya yung Hong Kong dollar.
O pataka, pwede rin pataka. Plus, wala na yata yung mga malalaking casinos doon, no? Tama
wala na ba? Di ba may parang Venetian doon?
Basta yun, yung clash ng dalawang sibilisasyon, doon mo talaga makikita yung old world plus yung oriental.
Yan. Okay, sige. But at this point, it's time to check out some social media stories, one of which is sobering and tragic. Now, we're getting a lot of reactions on multiple people who were killed at the Lapu-Lapu Day Festival in Vancouver, Canada over the weekend. Among them, we have former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who wrote, "My heart goes out to the loved ones of all the victims of the tragic attack at the Lapu-Lapu Festival in Vancouver. I join all Canadians in standing with the Filipino community at this difficult time." Stand-up comedian Jokoy also wrote, "I am heartbroken to hear what took place at the Vancouver Filipino Festival. This is supposed to be an event that honors and celebrates our beautiful culture, and now we are mourning the loss of 11 lives that were taken too soon. My heart goes out to everyone who were affected by this horrific event. Mahal kita."
Si Apple the App naman ng Black Eyed Peas said, "Our hearts were broken for the victims, their families, and everyone affected by the tragedy at the Lapu-Lapu Festival." J. Ray and I had just finished performing and left the stage minutes before it happened. It's hard to describe the shock and the heaviness we feel. Thank you to everyone who's checked in. Your love means the world. So please keep the victims, their families, and organizers in your prayers. They need all the love and strength right now. Okay. So, again, just to recap, yung nangyari, Pao, 11 people.
So,
ang namatay.
Ang namatay. Parang initially nga it was just 9. And then it already climbed, the fatalities climbed to 11. Dito nga sa Filipino festival na yan in Vancouver, no? It's the Lapu-Lapu Day. So, ang nabasa ko, second year pa lang yan na sineselebrate.
I think third.
Third na ba? Okay, so third year of it being celebrated by Filipino Canadians. And it's so unfortunate because I think around after 8 p.m., gabi na, no? Patapos na, yes. And then a car suddenly plowed through all these people dun sa festival na yan. We don't have videos, no? Or photos kasi nga medyo very graphic and horrific din yung nangyari. But you can just imagine the shock and the horror these people experienced. Kasi tuloy-tuloy yung driver na yan who was identified as Lo, si Kai G. Adam Lo.
Grabe daw eh. Makikita mo raw talaga na tumatalsik daw talaga yung mga nasasagasaan na parang mga bowling pins. Pero yung aftermath mismo, nakita mo talaga yung naiwan sa lugar. Mas nakarimarim actually yung imagine mo yung nangyari para maiwan yung ganong klaseng wreckage talaga. At may mga bata, age 5 to 60. Age 5 ang pinakabata.
So may bata na namatay din and more than 24 have been injured. Several are critical right now in the hospital. So dito nakita rin natin one eyewitness said na this suspect even slammed on the gas and barreled through the crowd. So all he could remember was seeing bodies flying up in the air higher than the food trucks themselves kasi nga it's a festival, di ba?
Yes.
So yung mga katawan po ayun na nga tumilapon after this ramming incident. And he even said it looked like a bowling ball hitting bowling pins. And all the pins are flying into the air. We're sorry it has to be so graphic, pero just to paint the picture of what happened and how serious this incident was.
Ito ay isang event na inorganize ng isang Cebuano Association. At sakto nga ito nga, may Lapu-Lapu Day din sa Cebu mismo. At nakita natin preparations yan, lalo-lalo doon sa isla ng Mactan. Ang isang festival na ganito ay siguro para sa mga Pinoy na nasa ibang bansa, ay isa sa mga mahalagang bagay na kahit paano yung mga ganito paggunita ay naglilikha pa rin ng nexus, yung connection doon sa yung roots, lalo-lalo sa mga bata na hindi na nagkaroon ng pagkakataon, yung sense of Pinoy community din, tapos sa alaala nila ay may pinahahalagahan. Pero itong gantong insidente, talagang ito ang mamansa talaga sa alaala ng festival that's meant to foster
look back, on your heritage, nationalism. And right now, the suspect, si Kai G. Adam Lo, has already been charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder. Investigators ruled out terrorism already, and but they said that this person has a history of mental health issues. Actually, parang sabi din ng authorities na they know him, they're familiar with him. So I don't know what exactly his previous cases were, if he's been charged with anything. So hindi ko rin alam.
May isang tina-target ba siya doon sa di ba anong may sama ng loob ba siya sa festival? May kaaway ba siya doon? Malalaman natin yan habang inimbestiga. Pero alam mo, Tita Pao, nakakatakot talaga dito. Anything can be a weapon. Kung tutuusin mo, yung sasakyan. Something that's meant to bring you from point A to point B na naging weapon for killing. My God. So our thoughts and prayers go to the families of those 11 victims. At so may mga nagpapagaling pa sa ospital.
Sa ospital. And hopefully hindi na mangyari ito ulit. I don't know what measures can be put in place to avoid incidents like these from happening again. Kasi it's a festival, di ba? Hindi mo naman iisipin na there could be such a an accident like that. Or if you can even call it an accident.
Isipin mo, di ba, Lapu-Lapu. So, yung victory ni Lapu-Lapu bang sineselebrate? Okay, kung isipin mo, napaka-innocent. Wala siyang no? Wala siyang...
They're not promoting walang kulay yung
Walang tinatamaan unless isang baliw na Espanyol siguro. No, na napakalayo naman.
Yes.
At Portuguese naman siya. Anyway, yung mental illness talaga. Yun talaga yung... Ay, grabe. Okay.
Okay, so meantime, a Filipino lorded it over the Great Australian Bake Off by highlighting unique local flavors. That story and more from News 5 correspondent MJ Marfori.
Ube halaya, bibingka scones. Ilan lang naman ito sa mga kinahuhumalingan ngayon sa Land Down Under. Salamat sa Pinoy baking master na si Arvin Garcia, na nanalo sa hit show na The Great Australian Bake Off ng BBC.
During the show, I tried to use Filipino flavors talaga para unique and something na it's a chance for them to try and see what they think about it.
Pero bago sumakses sa buhay, madami na challenges na pinagdaanan si Arvin. Fresh from graduation noon bilang isang nurse, nang ma-diagnose siya ng uri ng cancer sa dugo. Imbis na magpadala sa lungkot, lalo raw na-inspire si Arvin na lumaban sa buhay. 2009, na maging cancer-free siya. 2014 naman, lumipat si Arvin sa Melbourne, Australia para ipagpatuloy ang nursing expertise. Hanggang sa aksidenteng magsimula ang kanyang baking journey. Dahil hirap siyang mahanap doon ang kanyang Pinoy food favorites.
Nung nag-move ako dito sa Australia, nakakamiss yung mga kinalakihan kong mga dishes sa atin, especially yung pandesal, yung ube, yung mga desserts na gano'n.
Correct.
So back 10 years ago, hindi pa gano'n ka-easy i-access yung Filipino food dito sa Melbourne.
Nasali siya sa show nang sendan siya ng link ng isang kaibigan, and the rest, they say, is history. Sa ngayon, busy si Arvin sa local tour sa Australia, lalo na para sa mga kababayan natin doon. Pangarap niya na soon makapag-open na rin ng bake shop sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mundo, lalo na sa Pilipinas. May pro tip naman si Arvin sa mga nangangarap din ngayon na sumakses kagaya niya.
Ang advice ko, start small. Like, don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait to have a big kitchen or to have all this fancy equipment. Kahit na oven toaster lang yan, no? You can start baking.
Laban.
You can start creating. Laban lang.
Panoorin ang journey ni Arvin sa The Great Australian Bake Off tuwing Sabado, 9 p.m., Channel 202 sa Signal TV. Mahigit 4.6 million subscribers, mahigit 384 million views, and over 8,000 videos. Talagang winning ang moment ng One Sports YouTube channel ng MediaQuest Digital. Sa ginanap na unskippable event ng online streaming platform, bidang-bida rin ang One Sports ng MediaQuest bilang isa sa top channels mula sa top media network sa bansa.
It's a testament to the fact na hindi na tayo small time na lang. We have actually reached the big time.
Umabot sa 41 million ang engagements at 839,000 ang online mentions ng PH team sa latest Paris Olympics. Hindi pa kasali riyan ang iba't ibang sports events na ipinapalabas sa One Sports YouTube channel. Kaya asahan pa ang mas palabang content.
Unskippable. Congratulations.
Congratulations, of course.
Bahagi ka rin yata niyan. Yan nagkakamali.
Olympic coverage.
Olympic coverage. So, tuwing nakikita nga kita, kumakanta sa isip ko yung Santang-tang laban, santang-tang laban. Yan na naman eh.
Oh, hindi na pala magagamit ulit yung kantang yun, no? Kasi hindi na 100 years sa next Olympics.
Pag nagdagdag ka pa isang syllable, may problema rin yun. Isang daan at isa.
Pwede naman.
Isang daan. Kailangan mo i-rearrange yung kanta, diba? Pero ang ganda nung sinabi kanina nung nanalo sa Great Australian Bake Off. The time to start anything is now, no? Sa lahat po na may binabalak dyan sa buhay. Huwag niyong antayin ko kung pag nakuha ko yung magandang laptop, I will write the great Filipino novel. Nako! Ngayon, lahat ng matatandang mga kakilala kong manunulat, sinasabi nila, yung best writing nila happened with a cheap typewriter. At meron na sila mga PowerBook, MacBook sa kamay nila. Wala.
Ikaw ba? Oh, sige. Kung may sisimulan ka man.
Binabati natin lahat. May sisimulan? Ay, makapal mukha ako eh. So, sinisimulan ko na.
You don't wait for Talagang ganun din yung mindset mo. The best time to start is always now. Okay.
Parang nagpinta ako nung quarantine. Yun. Wala sa plano. So, minsan, tanong mo lang, nag-i-enjoy ba ako dito? Pag nag-i-enjoy ka, gawin mo. Kasi the more you do it, gagaling ka. Ganun lang siya kasimple.
Ako, sabi ko sa sarili ko, pag 30 na ako, doon ako kakain ng healthy. So, habang hindi pa ako 30, enjoyin ko muna lahat ng pagkain na pwede kong enjoyin. Pero kung ang kanyang payo ay just do it already, start now, tama rin naman yun. Para iwas tayo sa mga sakit-sakit.
Madaling sabihin, mahirap gawin. Alam mo, gusto ko rin matutuhan ng skill, mag-bake ng bread. Hindi pastry sa bread in particular.
Not sourdough? Or
kasama yun.
Kasama yun. Ay, yung may starter, di ba? May tawag aalagaan mo pa
yung yeast. Oo. Alam mo, yun daw ang sikreto ng marami. The kind of yeast.
Pero, simulan mo na daw mamaya.
Pero iba na iisip ko sa yeast.
Ano ba yan? Ano naiisip mo?
Lalo pag itong mga panahon, mga nakamaong, pinabati natin lahat ng nanonood ng After the Delight via live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Una na dyan, si Mike Policarpio. Sabi ni Mike Policarpio, the word caldereta was derived from the Spanish word caldero. The musical group naman, Menudo, from Puerto Rico, binanggit ko kanina, na idol malamang to ni Tito Mike. Yung Menudo naman, ibig sabihin ay little, small, or minor. Yan ang sabi niya. Happy Monday, Tito El and Tita Pao.
Sabi rin ni Danilo Natividad, para sa kanya, mas okay daw ang sardines at pandesal.
Agree ako sa iyo. Danilo Natividad. Pero, pansin mo ba, parang nag-iiba na yung lasa ng mga pandesal ngayon?
Paano? Bakit?
Pansin mo yung pandesal na mga bakery sa kanto-kanto. May lasa talaga yun. Pero ngayon, itong mga specialized na ng mga pandesal, nag-iiba na.
May ibang flavor.
O yung nilalagay kasi sa plastic. No. So, kailangan may dinadagdag ka doon ng mga element o mga preservatives minsan kasi para magtagal siya sa display sa grocery.
Ang alam ko yung ibang pandesal, puro hangin na daw.
Gusto ko yun.
Mas gusto mo yung puro hangin.
Basta bagong luto. At dapat yung mga tindera sa mga panaderya, huwag kayo masungit.
May ganon?
Oo. Kasi masusungit sila eh.
Sobrang aga daw pa kasi.
Kasi mainit yung oven. Ganun na lang kasimple yan.
Tsaka mainit pa ang panahon.
Tama! Opo. So, konting pasensya po. At bumili ka ng toaster sa bahay. Si Denise Tanay walang toaster. Time out muna. Marami pa aming kwento sa inyo. Magbabalik po ang Afternoon Delight. All right, you're still watching Afternoon Delight on One News. Ako po si Lourdes Vera.
At ako naman po si Pauline Verzosa. Magandang hapon po muli.
As we reported earlier, at least 11 people were killed in a Filipino Street Festival in Vancouver, Canada, Saturday night. The tragedy coincides with pivotal election in the country. The British Columbia Prosecution Service has initially charged 30-year-old Kai G. Adam Law, a Vancouver resident, of second-degree murder. More from this report.
At least 11 people were killed and dozens injured when a man rammed an SUV through a crowd at a Filipino community festival in Vancouver, Canada. Police arrested a 30-year-old suspect at the scene of the incident on Saturday. Authorities described him as having had a significant history of interactions with authorities involving mental health. They said there was no evidence of terrorism.
So for terrorism, there should be some political, religious ideation behind it. There's no indicators that this individual had that. And obviously the history we have with him leans towards that there wasn't any other indicators.
The attack took place 2 days before Canada's federal election. More than 12 hours after the incident, police still did not have a motive for the attack at the festival, which took place without a dedicated police presence or heavy vehicle barriers. According to witnesses, the suspect was initially chased down and held by festival goers until police arrived. The incident happened in Vancouver's Sunset neighborhood, an area known for its large Asian population, where the Lapu-Lapu Day block party, celebrating a Philippine national hero, was taking place.
This is the darkest day in our city's history. Last night, as thousands of members of Vancouver's Filipino community gathered for an important cultural celebration, the actions of a single person shattered our collective sense of safety. It is impossible to overstate how many lives have been impacted forever by this lone individual.
The Department of Foreign Affairs extended its deepest condolences to the victims and families affected by the tragic incident. President Bongbong Marcos also expressed sorrow over the incident. He said the Philippine Consulate General is coordinating with Canadian authorities to ensure a thorough investigation and support for the victims' families. Mobile journalist Mary Monreyes, we are One News.
In other news, Malacanang denies claims that China has seized Sandy Cay in the West Philippine Sea. Citing National Security Council Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro asserted that these allegations are false. She also confirmed that the interagency maritime operation successfully conducted visits to Pag-asa Cays 1, 2, and 3 and other surrounding waters just yesterday. For her part, Senator Risa Ontiveros criticized China for staging a photo shoot gimmick at Sandy Cay, saying no self-respecting state would recognize such a spectacle as a legitimate claim.
And while China is flexing its muscle 3 nautical miles away from Pag-asa Island, the Balikatan exercises continue. The United States has developed its anti-ship missile Nemesis for the said drill in Luzon. Here is the report.
Isa-isang pinalipad ng Amerika at Japan ang kanilang helicopter para sa photo exercise ng mga barkong nagsasanay sa formation at maneuvering nitong linggo ng umaga. Bahagi ito ng multilateral maritime exercises sa West Philippine Sea. Pero dahil malakas ang alon, ipinagpaliban ang pagpapalipad ng mga helicopter ng Philippine Navy. Napansin naman nilang nakamasid sa aktibidad ang nasa 4 na barko ng China. Bukod sa Photo X, isa pang simulation ang ginawa. Pinalipad naman ng mga drone na ito na kunwari ay air asset ng mga kalaban sa baybayin ng San Antonio, Zambales. Ilang sandali pa, nagpakawala na ng Stinger missiles at 30mm chain gun rounds ang ilang Marine Air Defense Integrated System o MADIS ng US Marines na nakaposisyon sa dalampasigan. Ganito raw ang isa sa mga posibleng maging senaryo kung kinakailangan depensa ng teritoryo mula sa banta ng mga kalaban sa ere.
This was a good step forward as far as integrating both capabilities.
Ito ang unang beses na dinala sa Pilipinas ang MADIS at ang unang pagkakataon ding sumabak ito sa Balikatan exercise. Kaya nitong atakihin at pabagsakin ng ilang aerial threats tulad ng drones, helicopters at ilang pang aircrafts na mas mababa ang lipad. Bagamat hindi kabilang sa mga nag-live fire, nakatuwang ng MADIS sa isinagawang Integrated Air Defense and Missile Exercise ang Surface-to-Air Python and Derby o ang Spider system ng Philippine Air Force. Isa ito sa pinakamodernong ground-based missile system na mayroon ng Pilipinas na kaya tumarget ng aircrafts at precision-guided missiles.
We need to integrate. That's for the connectivity, to have a scene or common operational picture.
Nakaposisyon din hindi kalayuan sa Pampang ang ilang Avenger units ng US Marines na isa ring mobile air defense system na ang punteriya ay mga low-flying air assets. Samantala, nakadeploy na sa Batanes ang Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System o Nemesis ng US Marines. Ang Nemesis ay isang anti-ship missile system na kayang asintahin mula sa lupa ang mga kalabang barko sa dagat na nasa hanggang 200 kilometro ang layo. Giit naman ng Amerika, walang kinalaman dito ang banta ng pagkubkob ng China sa Taiwan na malapit lang sa Batanes. Ayon din sa AFP, hindi nila papaputukin ang Nemesis sa Northern Luzon.
There will be no live fire as of the moment. All of these are undergoing, or the AFP is undergoing familiarization with a particular weapon system.
Mobile Journal, Ivan Taringki po, hatid ang muka ng balita.
And now here is a quick rundown of more stories on One News. PHIVOLCS has raised alert level 1 over Bulusan volcano after a phreatic eruption there at 4:36 in the morning today. The eruption lasted 24 minutes and produced a 4,500-meter high plume. Ashfall was reported in several barangays in Irosin and Huban, Sorsogon province. Authorities remind residents to wear face masks and to avoid areas near the volcano. Pagasa has spotted a low-pressure area 695 kilometers east of General Santos City. The LPA, embedded along the Intertropical Convergence Zone, is expected to affect Mindanao, while easterlies will influence the rest of the country. The State Weather Bureau said the LPA has a low chance of developing into a typhoon. And 13 areas across the country will experience danger level temperatures today. These areas include Cavite City, San Jose Occidental Mindoro, Dagupan City, Pangasinan, and Apari in Cagayan. The public is advised to stay hydrated and to limit exposure to the sun to prevent heat-related illnesses.
In other news, Cardinals visited the tomb of Pope Francis at the Papal Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome. Our Joey Francisco has the details.
Crowds once again filled up St. Peter's Square just a day after the funeral of Pope Francis. An estimated 200,000 faithful attended the Mass held on the second day of the Catholic Church's declared 9 days of mourning. Several Filipinos were seen at the Vatican.
Pinakilabutan ako at saka naiyak ako mag-isa. Through me, with my feelings, I think he's touching me and say goodbye to him.
Before the Mass at the Square, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle led the Holy Eucharist at the Pontificio Colegio Filipino. His homily centered on the importance of divine mercy.
We know that mercy will not be defeated by the evil present in the world.
Hours later, the members of the College of Cardinals arrive at the Maggiore Basilica. It is their first visit to the tomb of Pope Francis after the funeral Saturday. All 4 cardinals from the Philippines were present during the visit. Aside from Tagle, Cardinals Orlando Quevedo, Jose Advincula, and Pablo Virgilio David also attended. The cardinals prayed the second Vespers together. Earlier today, the Basilica opened its holy door to the public, allowing mourners to visit the tomb of Pope Francis. The line was long and people filled up the back area of the church. It takes an average of 3 hours for visitors to reach the tomb inside the basilica. Once there, you are allowed just seconds to look at the Pope's final resting place. So most visitors opted to pray in the other areas of the church. The tomb is very simple, in keeping with the wishes of Pope Francis.
Nung nandun na po kami sa loob, talagang iba po yung pakiramdam eh.
Magaang po. Kahit yung pila niyo pong 3 oras, natanggal po lahat.
Most of those who lined up at Maggiore also lined up at the Vatican during the Pope's wake. The public can now visit the tomb of Pope Francis inside the Papal Basilica of St. Mary Major a day after his burial. Reporting from Vatican, Rome, Joey Francisco, we are One News.
Social media influencers or legacy or mainstream media. Which one should the public trust? Well, this was the subject of debate on TV5's Manindigan special last night. And the details from Mobile Journal, Arles de los Santos.
Kanino nga ba dapat makinig at magtiwala? Paano ba natin matutukoy ang totoo sa hindi? At bilang Pilipino, anong ambag mo laban sa fake news?
Ayan ang mainit na diskusyon sa pagitan ng ilang kinatuwa ng mainstream media at social media influencers sa Manindigan. Nagkaroon ng 6 na round ng debate kung saan binigyang oras ang mga kalahok para ibahagi ang kanilang mga posisyon sa mga issue patungkol sa information dissemination. Sa unang round pa lang, naging maanghang na ang pahayag ni Vergel Santos, editor at trustee ng Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility, patungkol sa kawalan ng subok na sistema ng paglabas ng impormasyon na galing sa social media influencers.
Ang impormasyon, balita, opinyon na galing sa social media ay hindi dumaan sa isang subok na sistema ng pagsusuri. Di tulad ng mga nanggaling sa mainstream media na sinala munang mabuti bago ibahagi sa madla.
Sinundan ito ng pahayag ng dating OFW at ngayon influencer na si Orion Perez Dumdum na binasa ang isang pahayag ng dating Prime Minister ng Singapore na si Lee Kuan Yew.
A wildly partisan press helped Filipino politicians to flood the marketplace of ideas with junk and confused and befuddled the people so that they could not see what their vital interests were in a developing country.
May pahaging din agad si UP Associate Professor Danilo Araw sa mga umano'y nagpapakalat ng pekeng balita.
Masarap kaya ang ulam ng mga nagpapakalat ng maling impormasyon, lalo na sa social media? Malamang na hindi, pero patikim pa lang ito.
Si Byron Cristobal naman, o mas kilalang banatbay, nagsabing mga politiko ang nagpapakalat ng fake news. At sa mga sumunod na round, napag-usapan ang transparency, regulasyon at kredibilidad ng parehong mainstream at social media.
Ito lang ang laging punto ng mga taga-mainstream media, na wala daw nagpupulis sa social media. Ang tanong, hindi niyo po ba alam yon na meron nagpupulis sa social media?
Yung social media, walang nagpupulis na pulis dyan. Dahil iyan ay individual na diskarte. Yan ay kanya-kanya.
Nagsilbing bahagi ng reactor panel sina former Communications Secretary Martin Andanar at Chairman ng UST Political Science Department, Professor Dennis Coronacion at Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro.
Ngayon, usong-uso talaga yung fake news. Hindi natin masasabing walang fake news. So dapat ang taong bayan talaga maging mitikuloso, mapanuri patungkol dito.
Sa huli, nagtapos ang debate sa pagsang-ayon ng bawat kinatawan mula mainstream media at influencers sa hamong bitbit ng pagkalat ng fake news. Panawagan nila sa publiko, maging responsable sa pagtanggap at paglabas ng balita, lalo ngayong papalapit na ang 2025 midterm election. Mapapanood ang full episode ng Manindigan sa official Facebook at YouTube pages ng 1PH, 1 News at News 5. Mobile Journal, Arles de los Santos, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
All right, now here are more stories we're watching 14 days before the midterm elections. Local absentee voting officially begins today and will run until April 30. Over 57,000 police officers, soldiers, government employees, and media personnel are urged to vote for 12 senators and 1 party list. They're also voting for their respective local candidates. Local absentee voters may cast their votes from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Senator Bongo and Congressman Erwin Tulfo are leading in the latest Okta Tugon ng Masa 2025 pre-election survey. 10 other members from the administration's Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas are also included in the list. Meanwhile, opposition senatorial bets and former senators Bam Aquino and Kiko Pangilinan also made it to the winning circle. The survey was conducted from April 10 to 16 among 1,200 voters. And a recent Social Weather Station survey shows that 75% of Filipinos prefer candidates who will assert the Philippines' rights against China's actions in the West Philippine Sea. This is 3 percentage points lower compared to a similar poll conducted back in February. Meantime, only 25% of Filipinos prefer non-assertive candidates. The survey was conducted between April 11 and 14 among 1,800 adult respondents.
MQuest and De La Salle Dasmariñas joined forces in a media literacy campaign in the run-up to the 2025 elections. More from Mobile Journal Amy Atienza.
Selyado na ang partnership ng MQuest Holdings at De La Salle University Dasmariñas para sa Think Ka Muna, isang media and information literacy sustainability program para sa mga estudyante. Para patuloy na maipakilala ang kahalagahan ng media and information literacy sa mga paaralan, binuo ng MediaQuest Holdings ang Think Ka Muna, na may layuning mapalawak ang knowledge sharing sa pagitan ng mga estudyante, mapayaman ang kanilang kakayahan sa mga real-world problems, at maipakita ang kahalagahan ng pananaliksik.
This agreement establishes a framework for joint initiatives in research, capacity building, and knowledge sharing through a 3-year partnership between De La Salle University Dasmariñas and MediaQuest Holdings.
Nais ng MQuest at DLSUD na maipakita ang pagkakaroon ng responsibilidad ng mga estudyante sa paggamit ng social media, lalo na ngayon na patuloy ang pag-usbong ng misinformation at disinformation sa bansa.
In the rapidly evolving digital landscape, the ability to discern truth from falsehood and to engage responsibly online is no longer a mere advantage. It is a necessity, and this partnership recognizes the vital role that education plays in equipping our youth with these essential skills.
Plano na rin ng DLSUD na maisama ang Think Ka Muna initiatives sa curriculum ng kanilang high school subjects.
That we will be integrating this partnership with our curriculum with regards to media and information literacy, with our contemporary Philippine arts from the region, and the research subjects.
And we have recognized the need for it. While I think gone are the days when schools will work alone and consider others as competitors.
Mobile journalist Amy Atienza po, hatid ang muka ng balita.
You are watching Afternoon Delight here on One News, but we just need to pause for another breather. We'll be right back.
This is AP News Minute. A man driving a black Audi SUV crashed into a crowd at a Filipino Heritage Festival in Vancouver Saturday night, killing at least 11 and injuring dozens. The suspect is in custody and police have ruled out terrorism. The incident shook Canada right before a federal election. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian offered condolences after a huge explosion and fire at a southern Iranian port Saturday. The incident left at least 40 dead and 1,000 injured. Russia launched a drone and airstrike attack across Ukraine early Sunday, killing at least 4 and injuring others. This followed U.S. President Donald Trump questioning Russia's leader Vladimir Putin's willingness to end the war, with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio calling the coming week very critical for U.S. involvement. A special morning mass for Pope Francis took place in St. Peter's Square on Sunday, marking the second of 9 days of mourning.
And we're back. You're still watching Afternoon Delight. Thank you for staying with us.
All right, now let's move on to sports. All eyes are on the highly anticipated Final Four showdown of the UAAP Season 87 Women's Volleyball Tournament. All that in Mobile Journal, Denise Valdez-Sancho's report.
Tunay na bilog ang bola sa UAAP Season 87 Women's Volleyball nitong weekend. It's a strong finish for the Ateneo Blue Eagles sa 4-set victory nila kontra winless UE nitong Sabado. 25-21, 23-25, 25-16, 27-25. Nanguna dyan ang rookie na si Gian Chawatico na nakapagtala ng career-high 16 points on 11 attacks, 4 blocks, and an ace. Matapos ang 6 na taon, nakakuha na rin ng panalo ang FEU Lady Tamaraws kontra DLSU Lady Spikers. At nagawa nila yan in 4 sets, 25-20, 28-26, 20-25, 25-23. Jerzel Batalio came up big with 19 points on 16 attacks, a block, 2 aces, 8 excellent digs, and 11 excellent receptions. This Sunday doubleheader. Parehong nagtapos ang Adamson at UP sa 6-8 win-loss record. Matapos ang straight set victory ng Adamson Lady Falcons laban UP, 13-25, 21-25, 18-25. Record-breaking na 371 points na ang naiambag ni super rookie Shaina Nitura sa season na ito matapos niyang makapagtala ng 22 points sa laban. Hindi naman hinayaan ng UST at NU na tapusin ang elimination round nang hindi pinapakaba ang volleyball fans. Naging intense kasi ang 5-setter match-up nila kahapon. Pero sa huli, nasa NU Lady Bulldogs pa rin ang huling halakhak. 23-25, 25-17, 25-18, 22-25, 15-9. Bella Belen tallied a triple-double with 26 points on 24 attacks, 2 blocks, 17 excellent digs, and 13 excellent receptions. Ayon sa kanya, puso ang nanaig para sa Hawkson squad sa kabila ng pagod.
Hindi ko nakitaan ng takot sa mga mata nila na like kahit pagod kami, gagalaw pa rin kami ng tama, ipapanalo pa rin namin. Na kahit nakuha sa amin yung 4th set, hindi ako nag-doubt na matatalo kami ng 5th set kasi malaki yung tiwala ko sa teammates ko na maipapanalo namin yung game.
Muling maghaharap ang NU at FEU sa Final Four, habang magtatapatan naman ang UST at DLSU para sa playoffs for number 2. Mapapanood yan sa UAAP Varsity Channel, One Sports at Pilipinas Live App. Mobile Journal, Denise Valdez-Sancho po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
Meanwhile, Ian Cajucom extends his winning streak at the MPTC Tour of Luzon, the Great Revival, claiming his 2nd straight stage victory on Sunday. The 22-year-old victorious cycling rider conquered the windy 168.76 kilometers stage 4 from Agu, La Union to Clark, Pampanga. Mervin Corpuz of MPT Drive Hub and Aidan James Mendoza of Go for Gold finished right behind him. Cajucom credited his European training for his strong performance. His back-to-back wins also pushed him up to 12th place overall from 32nd the day before.
At dahil mag-aalas 3 na ulit, eto na po ang segment na talaga namang pagdating sa padyakan hanggang sa magpakilanman. Walang tatalo. Dito po sa I Saw the Signs. Mukhang tinaon yata para sa iyo to, Tita Pau. Today's edition starring dogs. Sige nga.
Okay.
First photograph. First meme.
Uy, may beagle. Sige.
Okay. Bibinyagan lang daw tayo ni Father sa banyo, tapos isang timang doon. Ito lang isang timang. Kawawa naman yung beagle, oh.
Bakit nga ba ayaw maligo ng mga aso, no?
Saka, grabe naman.
Tago sila.
Para namang parang katayan ng baboy yung lugar.
Yung banyo, no? Ba't naman mukhang ganyan kasi?
Bibinyagan lang daw ni Father.
Oo.
Feast of St. Francis.
Oo.
Ang baho nyo kasi, kaya kayo papaliguan. Next.
Ito naman.
I attack when my owner orders me. Isa naman.
Yung una, ano bang breed yan?
Yan ay German Shepherd.
German Shepherd. Ito pang Rottweiler, no? I attack when my owner is in danger.
Sabi naman ng Chichu.
I attack my owner. Ganun lang. Actually, ang mga small breeds, di ba? Sila pa yung mga pinaka-feisty na mga breed.
Lalo na yung mga, poodle, nangangagat yan.
Di ba? Pomeranian. Ano yan?
Maingay yan.
Maingay, tsaka...
Ang pinakasiga sila, kala mo, laki-laki. Alam mo ano, di ba? Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
Oo, sila yung mayayabang.
Isa pa yan.
Tingnan nyo, pag pumunta kayo sa mga vet, kala mo, sino?
Oo, yung mababait pa yung malalaking dog eh.
Correct. Kala mo, hindi sila kayang kainin ng isang subuan lamang. Next.
Ito naman.
Wife, where did you take the dog yesterday?
The regular places. Why?
She's acting different.
Nag-pole dancing. Bigla nang nag-pole dancing.
Alam ko na.
Sinama kasi nung asawa.
Dinala niya sa fire station.
Yun ba yun?
Diba? Bigyan sa fire station yung mga bumababa.
Parang ikaw yung husband talaga na sumagot dyan.
Sa fire station dinala yung aw-aw. Meron pa ba?
Okay.
Meron pa ba?
One more? Last na daw yan.
Okay.
Okay. Uy, nakakatuwa naman yung dog edition ng I Saw the Signs.
Ayan.
Sana more.
At talagang bagay na may beagle sa simula.
Yes, oo. Ganun din yung beagle ko eh. Ayaw
maligo?
Ayaw maligo. Hirap na hirap kaming dalhin sa banyo.
Aw-aw talaga ganun. Wala tayong magagawa. Anyway.
Alright, and that will do it for us this Monday, April 28. Thank you so much for watching Afternoon Delight. I'm Pauline Verzosa, sitting in for Denise Tan.
Thank you, Tita Pao. Bukas po ulit, 2 p.m. Pangalan ko po ay Lourdes de Vera, wishing you a delightful afternoon.